This is going to be a short video on how I test batteries. I had a guy drop this off this morning. It was negative 14, I believe, out. And he said his truck was having a hard time starting. I think he had to jump it, he said. But either way, I got it in the shop. And the first thing I do is I take my multimeter with some alligator clip ends on it. I connect it up to the battery, and I already did this. I set this to DC volts and go to the minimum reading. So it's going to read as I crank the engine and tell me what it gets down to. And that gives you a pretty good idea off the bat. So already you can see the battery has a case of the crusties, and the terminal has been worn down. I don't know if you can tell. I can get in here, but there's supposed to be more to this terminal down here, and it's not. It's actually rotted away. Let's see if I can zoom in and if it'll focus. There, you can kind of see at the bottom of the terminal there, it's missing. So it's kind of common on Ford trucks from what I've seen. This is a F250. And I have an F250, and it did the same thing. It's the off-gassing from the batteries, from what I understand. And I put new ends on mine. Ford wants the whole cable. This part of the cable is part of the clamp, and they want you to buy the whole cable, and it's pretty expensive. And so what I did was I found a Ford factory terminal, and it has the nuts on it, and it also has a crimp, so you can crimp the cable back on there. I bought those. That's what I did on mine. I bought the special crimper for it, heavy duty, a couple $100, and then I put new ends on all the wires and put them onto the terminals. So it's as close to factory as you can get without buying the whole harness. And I think the clamps were $30 for the set, if that. Worked for me. So after I do my quick test with the Fluke, I have a digital capacitant battery tester, and you just go in here, you set it up, and I already got it set for 650 cold cranking amps, which is what this battery is. And you hit enter, and it'll run a cycle, and it asks you if the temperature is above 32. And it's in a heated shop right now for about the last hour. So we're going to push yes. And it says 12.44 volts, 290 cold cranking amps, battery replaced. So off the bat, the voltage is good when it's just sitting. But obviously this has a bad cellar too in it. It's only half, it's less than half its cold cranking amps. So what we'll do is we'll print that out. These testers are pretty nice. This one is from Napa. It's able to spit out a sheet, and it tells you, see if we can focus, test report. Tells you the voltage, the cold cranking amps, bad and replaced. State of health 44%. State of charge 80%. So it's charged good. I just did a load test on this too with a old school, some people call them toaster tester. That's the Senke form. So I like to do both tests on this because sometimes one test will catch something that the other one won't. This is my load tester. You put the clamps on the battery, crank the knob up, and it will crank it to half of what the cold cranking amps is rated, and it will tell you if it's good, bad, and the state of charge. I do both. I personally like to overthink and confirm everything, just be triple sure. I mean, technically, after seeing this battery, it looks older. With my Fluke and starting it, and it dropped down to I think 10 volts, right around there, you can condemn the battery pretty much there. But this is a for sure way that you know. And then I can go back to the customer with a printout. I can show them and have no problem selling a battery on this. And I'm also going to have to replace at least this end. This negative looks like I should be able to clean it up pretty good. This is the bottom piece that I was talking about that is missing on the positive. Now that the testers are out of the way, hopefully you can see that. It's missing down here. So this one's going to have to get replaced for sure. And we'll go from there. I'm going to see what Napa has for the battery terminals when I pick up the battery. If not, I'm going to have to order one in. I can clean this one up and probably get by with it till the new one gets in. But I like to be as close to factory as possible. I don't like to use the cheap generic battery terminals that most parts stores sell. So if Napa has something that works, that I'm going to be able to crimp this one on, or at least have a good connection with some studs, I'll put a ring terminal on. I don't know if you can see it, but there's another wire down here, down on the bottom there with that red. That's actually crimped into this battery terminal. Sorry for the bad camera shaking, trying to do this one-handed. So these other two are on the bolts, but there's one that's crimped. There's a little section that comes off and it's crimped on there. So I will have to cut that off, put a ring terminal on if I can find a decent quality connector. But if I can't find a decent one at Napa, I'm just going to order the Ford one, which I know is decent, and it has a spot for the crimped wire and then 2 studs. I will get going on this and see what I can find out. Just wanted to do a short video on how I test batteries and how I go about fixing rotted out battery terminals. Thank you.